Howdy everybody. So today we're going to talk about competition. Now there's healthy competition and then there's unhealthy competition. Let's talk about the unhealthy competition first. The danger of competition. It's not uncommon. You're gonna meet a lot of people in trucking, and you're gonna become friends with some. It's not unusual. The unhealthy competition is trying to compare your business or compete with your business with someone else's business. That's destructive. It's very destructive. There's a danger there of trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? Your buddy buys a brand new truck, so you go buy a brand new truck. However, your buddy can afford to buy a brand new truck and you cannot. Or vice versa. You buy a brand new truck and your buddy buys a brand new truck because he's trying to keep up with you, and you can afford it and your buddy cannot. And so there's a danger there that you should be aware of. There's a danger of competing with other truck drivers that you may know. I know some guys who run extraordinary miles. They make a lot of money. They're younger than I am, I'll tell you that. And it's enticing. It's like, I want to run just as hard as they do. But then I think about it, I'm like, no, that's okay. It's good for them. I'm happy for them. That's the way you should be looking at it. Is don't compete with your buddies. Be happy for them. They're living the dream. They're pursuing their goals. You don't need to compete with them to be successful. You're not falling behind. Your business is your business. Their business is their business. It's unhealthy to try to match or compete with other truck drivers. What you really need to do is focus on yourself. What's in your best interest, not trying to be part of the group or trying to be younger than you are. I'm in my 50s. I'm not going to compete with a driver who's in their 30s or 40s. They want to run, let them run. I'm not going to try to keep up with them. And they put up extraordinary numbers. I mean, damn, I'm like, that's outstanding. Sometimes you learn from other drivers, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Tips and suggestions and ways you can produce productivity and boost your profits. That's fine. That's healthy. What's not healthy is trying to match them step by step by step. There's things that even within Crete that they do. It's kind of like carrots and sticks. They wave the carrots in front of you, right? It's like, if you run 30,000 miles for the quarter, we'll give you a bonus, 4 cents per mile for every mile you drive for the quarter. That's the carrot. And then they have a point system. It's wildly generous, but if you damage the trailer or safety points, speeding, things like that, you get points, and that's the stick. And they're trying to modify your behavior through carrots and sticks. If you look at the seal of the United States, I'll see if I can find an image of it. It has the olives and the arrows. It's the same thing. Peace or war, carrots or sticks. This is very similar. It's all based on trying to change your behavior. But competition kind of changes your behavior as well, right? People are naturally competitive. They want, sometimes you want to compete. Sometimes you want to see if you do better than your buddy does. As long as you keep in mind that this is healthy competition. This is, as long as it doesn't destroy your business model. I mean, you don't want to go hugely in debt just so you can compete with your buddy. That's unhealthy. That's totally unhealthy. And you don't want to eat, junk food because you're not taking the time to cook, good meals in your truck and eat healthy because you're in such a hurry to get miles to compete with your buddy. That's unhealthy, but if your buddy says, hey, I walked 5 miles today and you want to walk 10 miles today, that's great. That's healthy. That's extraordinarily healthy. So when we look at competition, we need to think what's healthy competition, what's unhealthy competition, because it can be very destructive. It could totally destroy your business model. When you focus on yourself, really your competition is really your own self. You are your own competition. Your habits and routines dictate how successful you're going to become. Your daily habits, your daily routines. You're competing against yourself. You look at your numbers and you're like, I want this year to be better than last year. I want, this month to be better than last month. I want a truck that keeps up with me, a truck that's better than my last truck. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to walk 10 miles. I want to walk 5 miles. I want to eat healthy. Your real competition is not your buddy. Your buddy is not your real competition. Your real competition is yourself. You have to compete with yourself. You have a limited amount of time when you're not driving. Are you going to watch, scroll through social media and watch, stupid videos about cats and dogs? Or you're going to use your time more wisely and try to learn how to be better? There's competition for your time. There's competition for your eyeballs, on social media. You have to be aware of competition, and know what's healthy and what's not healthy. Good competition is healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. When you start spending money in order to compete, that's unhealthy. Don't do that. If you start sacrificing your diet and nutrition and your health so that you can get more miles so you can compete with your buddy, that's unhealthy. Don't do that. Keep in mind, ultimately, you're competing against yourself. Year over year over year, month over month over month. You're not competing against other drivers. When your driving career is over and you retire, you want to look back and see how you progressed over the course of your career. I think if you get into these unhealthy competitions, it's going to derail you. And you're not going to be happy if you're out of trucking, or you have a medical reason, or something that was unforeseen has a negative consequence. You're too focused on competing with others and not focused on your own business. Your business is your business. Your buddy's business is his business. It's perfectly fine to offer tips and suggestions on how to improve, but be very, very careful when it comes to trying to compete with other drivers. There's danger there. There's a lot of danger there. And, it's okay to try to improve, but be careful, because you're going to be tempted. You're going to be awfully tempted. You want to go spend money, buy another truck so you can compete. You better think twice about that. Take care of your body, take care of your finances, take care of your own business. Don't worry about other people's business. You're not competing with other people. You're competing with yourself. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.